Turn on. Oh, there we go. Sorry. All right. Welcome, everybody. It is June 18th, and we're at the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting. We have Councillor Galanders and Al online. So if they can just let staff know if they want to ask any questions. So the first item is the motion to adopt the minutes of the May 21st meeting. And second, all those in favor? Perfect. The next committee meeting will be here on July 23rd at approximately 4 o'clock. Additions and deletions to the agenda. Councillor Wolf, you requested that the number 4 road in Granville intersection be added as a number 4 on the agenda. And then you also requested that the Dover Beach Habitat area be added as number 5 on the agenda. And are there any other additions or deletions? All right. Seeing none, I have a mover for the adoption of the new revised agenda. Second, and all those in favor? Perfect, thank you so much. All right, the first item on the agenda is the Youth Climate Corps BC. And I understand they are joining us virtually and have a PowerPoint for us. So if we could ask our clerk to set that up, please. Here we go, hi.
Hello, thank you so much for having us as guests at your meeting. Yes, we have some slides to present, but first I'll introduce myself. My name is Jocelyn Carver. I'm the Interim Executive Director for the Youth Climate Corps of BC, and I'll have Natalie introduce herself momentarily. I am joining this meeting from the Southern Interior, from the unceded and traditional territories of the Sinixt, the Syilx, and the Ktunaxa peoples. And we're excited to talk to you about a proposed program for next fiscal year. And I will hand it over to you, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. It's a real privilege and delight to be with you all today. My name is Natalie Garam. I have the distinct honor of serving as the Director of Programs for Youth Climate Corps of BC, and I'm calling in from the unceded and traditional lands of the Squamish Nation, or as some maps would read, the Sunshine Coast of BC. YCCBC is truly a provincial organization. We have programs running across the province, and we recognize the many lands, traditional and unceded lands, that we work and play and learn on as an organization. We're coming to you today after incredible work done by staff, and really want to honor the time and energy they invested into preparing the proposal around a Youth Climate Corps BC program in the city of Richmond. We really appreciate your time in hearing this proposal. We start in a place of recognizing that climate change is impacting young people in very particular and unique ways. There's a significant current and future impact on the economy and communities across the province due to climate crises, as well as the unemployment rate across our province and in our municipalities, and what that means for young people's mental health and well-being. Research demonstrates that connection to community and feeling like one is making a real contribution towards the crisis is a critical protective factor in youth mental health and well-being. And we believe that local governments like the City of Richmond are really in a position to lead, and in fact have already demonstrated considerable leadership on engaging young people in meaningful ways in climate action. We only need to look to your Green Ambassadors program to see the real impact that has been possible through wise decision making and incredible investment into young people in community. Next slide, please. Youth Climate Corps operates at the intersections of youth leadership development, civic engagement, community climate action, and career development. And we believe that by operating at the intersections, we are uniquely positioned to address the poly crises that are facing our communities. We run programs that are typically 4 to 6 months long, employing anywhere between 3 to 8 young people aged 17 to 30 in their home community, paid a living wage, to do the climate adaptation and mitigation work the community deems as being critical to its future. And the focus is really to scale community climate action projects already taking place, as well as develop the skills that folks need to be able to find good, safe jobs in the new green economy. These are some of the focus areas in which we work, and I do want to note that in the proposal prepared by staff, that many of the activities outlined there are in fact activities we have undertaken successfully in other communities, and feel really confident about our ability to bring good work in those areas to the City of Richmond. Here you'll see our operating days. So since our founding in 2020, as of the end of 2024, Youth Climate Corps had completed approximately 10,000 working days of climate action. That's the approximate equivalent to one person's entire career. However, in our scaling that we are now doing, just this summer, we will complete close to 3,000 working days of climate action. So doing 30% of what we've done in the past 5 years in these next 4 months. And we're so excited about the work we're getting done in places across the province. These are just a few quotations from folks who've been engaged with our programs. What I want to highlight is Ian Pickett's the Manager of Sustainability and Climate Change for the District of Squamish, noting that Climate Corps is uniquely positioned to do particular kinds of work that the district would have otherwise been unable to do. And that's where we really hope to make a contribution to communities. Here you'll see a list of places we've worked in the past, as well as the communities we are currently engaged in as a program. And if you look in the report afterwards, head to our website, and each of these programs has a short video as well as a webpage dedicated to explore a little bit more of what we made happen in each of those places. A day in the life, these are some of the incredible young people we've had the chance to work with in different places, the kinds of work that they have gotten up to, and the different ways that they have contributed to their community through real climate action that works. Here you'll see kind of lists of those different kinds of actions and events that our young people have been engaged in. This was our Squamish Youth Climate Corps, and you're welcome to review these on your own time. And on the next slide, this was a project we undertook with our Vancouver crew in Burns Bog, as well as an Indigenous-led program with Namgis First Nation in the village of Yalis or Alert Bay on northern Vancouver Island. And so in closing, we just want to say that we recognize the incredible efforts of the City of Richmond in taking real climate action that matters and engaging young people in that action as well. We are here to support and scale implementation and goals of the city, and we really believe that it would be an incredible partnership, an incredible privilege to get to work together and with your incredible city staff. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much for that presentation, and we were lucky enough to get a printout of this as well, so we'll be sure to share that with people in the community. I just had a quick question. I understand that the provincial government in 2024 gave the Corps $3 million to be spread out throughout the province, and how long does that sustain you?
So we are currently about halfway through year 2. So we are in our first year, we really were working on kind of building core partnerships as well as sort of core capacity to scale up. And we've done that this year and are looking forward to year 3, which will be the next fiscal year.
All right, thank you. Is there any questions of the delegation? Councillor Wolf, hold on, push a button. So now I can click you.
Thank you very much. Through the chair to our delegates, I think 3 questions. The first one I'll connect back to Councillor Day's question about financial sustainability. My concern is like the funding source. You said it's provincial. Is there a specific provincial program that has provided this amazing opportunity that we and others could advocate the province to continue doing, continue providing? Do you know, then, is there a specific name of a funding source?
We've been working closely. This grant comes to us through the Climate Action Secretariat under the larger umbrella of the Ministry of Energy and Climate Solutions, who are operating, of course, under the sort of Clean BC umbrella. So was specific pilot funding, not associated with, you know, an individual employment program, but coming largely under that umbrella funding of climate action activities. And Natalie, I don't know if you want to add to that.
No, I think that covers it.
Great, thanks. My next question is involved with the living wage. So I'm just curious, the living wage rate that you would pay, is it based on the geographic area of the youth?
Yes, so we would look at Richmond's living wage and apply that to the program.
Great, thank you. My next question, just 2 more, I think. You mentioned in the presentation that some of the work that you do, or that the youth does, the local government is unable to do that work. Could you give an example or explain how work that these youth can do cannot also be done by union staff?
really good question, and this is often a concern, rightly so, held by the municipalities we work with. We have a really positive working relationship with unions across the province. In fact, the Union of BC Municipalities, the BC Federation of Labor, and the BC Teachers Federation have all passed resolutions in favor of the expansion of Youth Climate Corps and to support more Youth Climate Corps programming across the province. We take those relationships really seriously because we also understand that for to have good green jobs in the future, we are going to need the support of unions and to have young people take up their place and their role in unions. And so we've been able to work with every municipality to date to identify employment opportunities that do not take away or detract from unionized jobs within the municipality. And there are particular things Youth Climate Corps is uniquely positioned to do. One of those examples is working on private property. And so while municipal staff are often unable to do that kind of work, Youth Climate Corps, given our insurance policies and the setup of our program, are able to go onto private residences, private yards, and do different kinds of work like fire smarting, air sealing, different programs depending on the needs of the location.
Great, thank you for that level of detail. My last question, you mentioned at the end of your presentation there, that Burns Bog project, and I was on your website and watched the video, which is great. I recommend it for others. But my question is, you said that was your Vancouver youth, and Burns Bog's in Delta. So how does that work? They don't have to actually work in the municipality?
So that was an agreement. As part of that program, we did have some work outlined with the Metro Vancouver Regional Parks Foundation, approved by the City of Vancouver as we were designing that project. And so we work with municipalities if there are opportunities, and particularly unique opportunities like that project, to partner with other regional organizations and get a big kind of, scaled project completed together. Then we'll work with the municipality to ensure that that falls within their priorities and they see the value of young people's time and effort being put towards that kind of initiative.
Terrific, thank you very much.
And I believe Councillor McNulty, you have a question of the delegation.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks for the written report. It's rather interesting. In the living wage, why is there a difference between the geographical areas? There's a standard living wage in Canada, and I believe it's $26 an hour, or somewhere 27.
It's adapted.
And my question is, why would it vary? If we're really a living wage community, we should be paying proper living wage.
Well, it's adapted to each demographic
I
depending.
know, that's what you said, but
Yeah.
why?
Because of the cost of living is different in Richmond
Okay,
than
I
it
don't
is.
agree with that, but okay. I guess another question, if I may. Projects are great. What about the sustainability and the impact to continue on? And it's great that you have a project, but what's next? It'd be nice if we could carry on. It's like a number of groups that come into Richmond to continue doing work along the way. So I didn't see anything in your report, the Squamish stuff of what they've done. I looked through it. Burns Bog. Is somebody doing the same thing or carrying on? Some of that work can carry on for quite some time, which would be great if you could. So anyhow, I guess that's a question I have, and I'll answer that about staff too, and we're our own. I got some questions of staff. But I think what you're doing is great, needs to be done, and we can't do enough of it. But we need to sustain it. And probably the provincial government needs to have an annual budget in this area.
Good to know. So we have a motion on the table, or we're going to put one on the
Do we have
table.
staff questions?
Oh, I will get the motion on the table first, and we'll ask questions of staff. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Councillor Au is online. He also had a question of the delegation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now, my first question is about the length of the time. 6 months might seem to be very short in terms of, really getting real, substantial work experience. Because I suspect that when a young person come to a new position, there with some orientation training and then getting adapted to the work environment, and they have to really work, be productive after only a few months. So why 6 months? In fact, I think it should be longer, 9 months or a year. So why choose 6 months?
Is this a
Well,
question,
certainly, I can pass, oh, sorry.
is it a
My
question of the
apologies.
delegation or of staff, Counselor Al?
Maybe both? Yeah.
Okay, see what you can do with it. Go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Ab. I deeply appreciate that perspective, and certainly it's feedback that we receive from young people who are participating in the program, that they would appreciate longer duration for a variety of reasons.
Yes.
Both because they're enjoying the experience and also, of course, as Natalie mentioned before, youth unemployment is growing, not declining. So we know what the labor market is like for many young people. We take all those things into consideration, and as the organization grows and evolves, it's possible that we will look for opportunities where it makes sense to, in some cases, perhaps shorten some programs and lengthen others, depending on really the scale of the project and what it requires and what the youth involved are able to do. So I guess what I would say is there exists some flexibility in terms of future strategic planning on the duration of program front.
Oh, very good. Yeah, because fundamentally, I hope that the experience would be substantial and be meaningful to the youth, right? Not just, a few weeks here, there, and then it be gone. Now, my second question is that it's not mentioned in the report that how many youth are we talking about with this with this written proposal? 1 or 2 or 3?
6.
6? I couldn't find it.
Yeah, 5 to 6, Counselor Al.
Okay, great. That's good. That would answer my question. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, well, we have a motion. I'm going to read it out, and then hopefully we have a mover and a seconder. Youth Climate Corps, the staff recommendation is that a partnership with Youth Climate Corps BC, as outlined in the staff report titled Youth Climate Corps BC, dated May 6, 2025, be approved, and it goes on to be authorized to execute the agreement, and that all related documentation with Youth Climate Corps BC be written up. And the second part is a 6-month pilot program with a cost of $85,000 be considered as part of the 2026 budget process, with funding coming from general solid waste and recycling provision. A mover, a seconder? Okay. All right. We have staff sitting here. Ms. Christina Gozdanovich, is there something that you'd like to add to the report?
Madam Chair, nothing to add, but happy to take any questions.
Okay, and I believe we had a question from Councillor Au about why 6 months. What's staff's perspective on that?
Through the chair to Councillor Au, through chatting with other municipalities that have worked with the YCCBC before, they've run programs from a five-month to 6-month program, and that is just to get an understanding of how the program works, how it works with the departments and the projects that are being identified. The intention at the end of the pilot program would be to report back to committee with recommendations at that time.
All right, okay. Councillor McNulty, I believe you have a question?
Yeah, I have 3 questions. I have no problem with the money. We could take it out of council contingency. We don't even have to worry about the funds. I guess given I'm looking at sustainability and retention in moving on from this opportunity for it in the education and the community. And do we already have a program's thought and suggestion of where we're going to go with the number of people we're having and what they're going to do?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty. So attachment 2 does have some of the projects listed out that we've identified that we would work through with the departments that would be involved with those types of projects. So these are just some that we've identified so far. At the end of the pilot program, we would again do a review and report back.
Okay. I've had a look at that, but I'd like to see more with the environment. But how are we going to follow up? The one thing in the presentation was a follow-up of these individuals that have gone through these programs. Where do they go? What do they do? Maybe they become city employees. What a great opportunity to move forward if you're a young person as a result. So I think this could evolve into something even greater than what we're anticipating at the moment. So I'd be looking through for metrics and trying to see a follow-up, because there's lots to do and not enough people to do them. Okay, that's enough for me for now to Monday.
Yeah, that's great. And so the motion is just to approve this for the budgetary process, for the 2026 budget process. Is there any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor? Those opposed? All right, that's passed. Thank you very much. So the next item on the agenda is a commemorative crosswalk to honor veterans. I understand we have a couple of members from the public here. Did you want to speak to this item? Or are you just here to observe? Please come in and introduce yourself, and you have a maximum of 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Captain Lindy McKinnon. I'm a veteran from the Canadian Forces.
Oh,
And
welcome.
this was my initiative to bring to the city the idea of a veteran commemorative crosswalk, as we don't have one currently in the city. And I was seeing more and more cities across Canada installing them, and felt very proud of those cities for doing so. And I thought this would be a great city to install one.
Thank you.
I'd like to give thanks to all that have considered my request.
Yeah.
And for the staff that have put so much effort into the report and the community engagement that we had, and working through all the, the different options that came up. So just my thanks.
It's never as easy as we think it will be, is it, Sir, did you want to introduce yourself? And
Yes, my name's Ron Fontaine. I'm the president of the Richmond Legion Branch 291. I'd just like to thank Candace Kurgi and her staff for making this pretty easy to do. Quite frankly, we had a few hiccups, but with her guidance, we got over them, and everything's gone pretty smoothly.
all right. Thank you very much. Is there, I think we're probably invite staff to come up and answer any questions. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks kindly.
Yeah. All right, so this is the commemorative crosswalk design as described in the staff report entitled Commemorative Crosswalk to Honor Veterans and dated May 29th to 2025. And there's a picture in our package that shows exactly what it looks like. And would you like to explain why it's gone from one design to the other design?
Madam Chair, thank you. Yes, we did receive the National Legion's recommended template quite late in the process. And when we saw that, we worked with them and the stakeholders, and everybody saw that there was a recommended design by the National Royal Legion, and preferred that over the previous options that had been developed. With that said, the original submission did have the Lest We Forget text, and that was preferred by stakeholders. So in essence, that has been carried over through the design development process, and it's really a made for Richmond recommendation that we have before you. And some modifications were further made to address accessibility concerns as well. So it's really been a very collaborative and iterative process to get to the option recommended before you today.
I'll bet you learned more about sidewalks and crosswalks than you could have ever imagined. Councilor McNulty, did you have a
Yeah,
question?
thanks very much. Declare a conflict. I'm a member of the Recreating Legion and the ANF, but my father was a veteran, so I'm not, but I'm still going to say something on this. It's too important to not, and given we're on the verge of World War III in the world, what we're doing, I think it's absolutely appropriate what we do. I think the recognition, I thank the members for, and the comrades for bringing this forward. And I think it's appropriate, very appropriate at this day and age, and out here in front of the Cenotaph is fine. What about expansion? Through you to the staff, did you have any discussion with utilizing this more than once in other areas of Richmond, et cetera? I have a suggestion, the four corners right out here in front and the busiest intersection in Richmond, or whatever. It's a very attractive one, and it's in a way a piece of art, to be quite frank with you, as well as the meaning of why we're doing it. Or were they pretty close shop at Dominion Command?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the location that was selected at number 3 Road in Anderson is of significance as it is in close proximity to the Cenotaph. and part of the location where the Remembrance Day ceremony and reception are held on an annual basis. So it blends in with that context, and that was the location that was developed through stakeholder consultation. There hasn't been the discussion to date to expand this implementation to other locations, and we can certainly take direction to look at that.
Well, I'd be interested in going back to the branches and the units to see if, what their thoughts are in terms of that on it. I'm sure that they'll be thrilled, one, to get it, but two, also, you can't do enough recognition for our veterans, peacekeepers, and those that give the ultimate. Thank you.
Hear, hear. And Councillor Kashid?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to express my appreciation for this matter coming forward so late too, 2024. We should have had this decades ago here in Richmond to recognize our people that have served our country and ensured that we had the freedoms that we all take for granted at this particular time. I guess from my point of view, I really like the design. I think it's great. I think it's fitting. You know, from a symbolic point of view, I think the location is great. And I think to recognize that, we yearly, November 11th, we recognize it. The reason why I'm not at your ceremonies, I traditionally have gone to the Sunset one in all my years. And where the Vancouver Police go and all that. So that's the reason why. But I think this is a great initiative. I guess where I'm going on this is you make a notation that this is going to cost $20,000. That's nothing, absolutely nothing. And $3,200 a year in a maintenance cost is nothing. So the line I want to bring to your attention, staff will pursue grant opportunities for this initiative to reduce. No, don't even bother. We're paying for it. We're not gonna, don't worry about a grant. Don't waste your time looking for a grant. We're gonna pay for this and we're gonna do this and we're gonna make sure the upkeep is there. Thank you.
Well, I showed this design to my husband, who's third generation forces, and he was so honored by this. And when I showed him the first design, which original that came from, I guess, the Corps, and then the revised design, he could see that, you know, people who have disabilities need to have a safe sidewalk that they can walk across. And the new design is a slight revision, but it still has the spirit of the original design. And I think the collaboration and hard work that everyone in staff put into this is very much appreciated. So thank you for a job well done. So do we have a mover for the motion and a seconder? All those in favor? Perfect. That's passed. Thank you for your time, everyone. Okay, number 3 on the agenda is an added item. It's the City Center Traffic Study Terms of Reference. We're doing a traffic study, and the map of the areas that we're doing is in the report. And I'm wondering if there's anybody in staff who wants to speak to this motion, because it's a pretty large area. We revised it from the original size. Did you want to?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to add to the staff report on the agenda that the report responds to direction received from committee at the May 21st Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting. It outlines the proposed terms of reference for a comprehensive road safety study of the north-south roads in the city center that are bounded by Westminster Highway, Gilbert Road, Granville Avenue, and Garden City Road. The scope of the city center study includes vehicles, buses, trucks, pedestrians, and cyclists. While staff perform technical assessments using traffic and collision data to advise on the need for road safety interventions, we understand committee would like to see a broader set of metrics used for determining speed reduction warrants and the impacts of reducing the speed limit in the study area to road safety and traffic operations. Consultation with the public and stakeholders on any proposed speed limit reductions will also be undertaken using a variety of communication platforms. Staff are seeking feedback from committee on the proposed terms of reference and any additional metrics to include in the study. If endorsed by council, the study will be included in the 2026 budget process. Due to the scale and specialized nature of this study, a professional traffic consultant will be engaged to conduct this work.
And that's $150,000, and it's going to take about 5 months for an external consultation, correct?
Madam Chair, subject to approval as part of the 2026 budget process.
Right.
The 5 months would begin after the budget was approved.
So this is just a proposal to take it to council as a whole. Okay, Councillor Heed, did you have a comment or question?
Yes, and I'm trying to be a little professional in my comments on this. This started out with me recommending that we reduce the speed on number 3 road from Westminster Highway to Granville because of the development that's in the area, the pedestrians that are in the area, the crossing in the area, and we needed it to slow down. There were some people, including the mayor, that didn't really think that was worthwhile. So we created this massive thing now here, $150,000 of taxpayer money, and it'll start after the budget's approved. Who knows when that's going to be? And then we've got to rate. So you can sense the frustration I have with this right now. So this work, so you're not touching anything except putting in for $150,000 for us to get another consultant to come in and study it, when we should be studying all the damn traffic issues in this city each and every day, not waiting for something to come forward, not having to have special, not spending taxpayers' money again on a consultant here. Remember, this started because I wanted to save people from getting hit by their cars. I don't care what the data is after the fact of the amount of collisions we've had in this area. I'm trying to prevent people and save people's lives here by reducing it. I spent 32 years picking up dead bodies on the street. I know what it's like because of the speed that's involved here. That's what this started out to be. Now we've transitioned this into some massive, costly expenditure that we probably won't have the results for until the end of 2026, till if we're going to run again, we're into our next term. I am absolutely frustrated with this, absolutely frustrated. I am not going to vote in favor of it.
Okay. Any other, Councillor McNulty?
Yeah, I have to echo the same frustration. We're going to get somebody killed over on Mineral Boulevard. I'm just waiting for the body bag, no matter what happens. To be quite frank with you, I agree we should be doing it. And if it's taking money, we do have a surplus. We have $1.3 billion in the bank, and we're asking for 150 next year. I'd like this referred back to staff, and on Monday, come forward and ask for whatever monies, and we give it to them immediately. So we have some action starting Monday evening. Well, that's my point. There, we go by the checkbook. We got a checkbook. People who don't live here don't understand that somebody over there right now, nobody stops at the stop sign, the bright stop sign. They go by. As people walk into it, they keep on going. Doesn't matter, So I deem this is important, but also I deem we don't wait. That's what I was, Councillor Heed has talked about 3 Road. I've talked about Mineral Boulevard and 3 Road and other areas. If we're going to do something, let's do it now. Only don't wait for the budget. There are more important things. Human lives are more important than other things that are happening. So I don't vote here, but obviously on Monday, I will support immediate action or no action.
We have staff, I think, wants to make a comment. Mr. Hill.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. To Councillor McNulty and Councillor Heed, certainly we can bring back some options on Monday to get the project started immediately using a variety of different funding sources. Finance is not here today, so we'll have to consult with them. At the same time, recognizing that the work plan we're outlining to committee is comprehensive. It's going to take some time to do this larger study corridor. If there is a preference to focus on one corridor over another, such as number 3 Road or Mineral, we can even expedite or accelerate that. Having said all that, if you are contemplating changes to one of those corridors, it will likely affect the other one. So that's, again, the recommendation for a larger study to make sure we really balance all those different needs, including public safety.
Correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't sorry, Councilor Monti, go ahead.
Yeah, I just
Finish up.
wanted to make sure that we did receive an email from a concerned citizen talking about the terms of reference, et cetera, and I hope that would be included and referred to staff in the minutes. Mr. Urjan Ma gave us a very comprehensive document. I don't agree with everything in it, but I like staff to have it for consideration.
So for the record, we'll have that added
Well,
to the
you're the
minutes.
chair. Yeah, thank
okay.
you.
Councilor Wolf?
Thanks. In relation to that last point, does staff have any initial comments about the Urjan Ma submission? And then also to the chair, will you be recognizing anyone in the audience who might want to speak on this item after staff?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Does staff have any comments first on the?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, absolutely. Staff have reviewed the comments and agree that number 3 road is congested and experiences bus delay. TransLink has studied this extensively as part of their bus speed and reliability study that the correspondent does reference as part of their email. What I can clarify is as part of the study scope proposed before you, the term traffic is used. However, that does encompass all modes of travel, including buses, pedestrians, cyclists, trucks, and so on. So the study is taking a multimodal process as part of its analysis, and at the same time, the terms of reference also does include consultation with TransLink, and the expectation is that the information regarding passenger bus frequency that is mentioned in the email will be incorporated by the consultant endeavoring to do this work.
Great, thank you. My last comment, or I guess question to staff at this time, goes back to Councillor Heed's point there and frustration on dealing with the urgency of slowing down traffic on number 3 road. And in the report, staff report, it does mention, I'm just going to read this one line here. Unlike local roads that Vision Zero recommends being 30 kilometers an hour, Vision Zero recognizes that a 50 kilometer an hour speed limit on major streets like arterial roads, which I assume number 3 road falls into, is necessary due to the high volume of traffic these roads need to transport. So I guess if staff could just kind of clarify that point, that's applying to 3 road, and is that the factor as well that you were considering, that we need it to stay at 50 to transport the vehicles through at a faster speed, like to get them through 3 road, through this section? Because I think that kind of is counter what Vision Zero is trying to do, which is to prevent people getting hit and dying, and that happens more likely if it's a faster moving vehicle.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, Vision Zero acknowledges that some roads also need to move traffic and carry large amounts of volume that are going larger distance. As part of this study, the impacts, both the benefits and perhaps the delays to the traffic on the roadway in all modes will be evaluated at a speed reduction. So the study will look at the impacts of speed reductions and consult on that as well.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks.
I think we have Councillor Galanders online. Was it not Councillor Galanders?
No, it is me. Sorry, I couldn't find my mute button. It wasn't coming off.
No worries, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, and I appreciate all the comments, and I'm glad that the submission from Urjan Ma has also been acknowledged, and that staff will be looking at that. I hear the comments from Councillor Heed. I don't think that just putting up a 30 sign without studying it would solve all the issues. So I think that studying it is important. I agree that that people do not stop at that crosswalk, and that crosswalk feels really dangerous. The crosswalk right north of Granville there, and So we need to look at other options besides just a 30 speed limit, because there's already a 30 speed limit posted there right now because of the construction. It's very clear. It says 30. It's right, very windy and narrow right after the crosswalk, but it still feels dangerous. So I think it's more than just a 30 sign. I think it's more study, and you know, perhaps the long-term vision of 3 Road is to have vehicles not on that road at all, and just buses, so that they can be more efficient. And we're studying other north-south routes for vehicles. You know, that's not an uncommon thing. So I think that we need to finish, those areas need to be finished getting built up on Minaroo before we know how it's all gonna be, and I think it needs to be studied. So I'm okay with moving forward with the study sooner rather than waiting to next year's budget process, but that's all my comments for now. Thanks.
Okay, where do we go from here? Are there any other questions of staff?
Yes,
Oh, Councillor Au is online. Perfect.
yes. Yes, well, basically, you know, I agree that we need to do the study. However, I think we need to do it right rather than to do it fast. And that's why I think staff recommendation is reasonable. Of course, you know, I think the money, $150,000 might be high, but I don't know even whether or not we can save some money by doing it on ourselves. But basically, you know, I agree with staff recommendation that we are not just studying number 3 Road. We have to make a comprehensive study in the area and, you know, doing it in the right way.
All right, I have a question of staff then. Councillor Au and others have said, well, why couldn't we just do it in-house? Can you explain why we are looking at having a consultant?
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is a very comprehensive study. It includes over 30 intersections, 20 lane kilometers of roadway. Staff are completely utilized, and any taking on of this scope would mean that our other work to deliver our transportation initiatives to the public, council, and development could not get done.
Right, like there's with all the redevelopments and whatnot. So question, like this is kind of an all or nothing motion. What if we were to do a simpler in-house study just for number 3 Road between Westminster Highway and Granville, and then leave the greater study to the outside consultant?
Madam Chair, the previous study that was brought forward as part of the May report on the assessment of number 3 Road included staff's assessment based on data and speed analysis, and we heard that committee wanted a more broader, extensive study. We could certainly take that back, but it would, again, mean an impact to our other deliverables.
Right, so we amended it last time, didn't we? Like the committee amended it to make it a larger study than what was originally envisioned. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this item? Okay, Mr. Ma, would you like to come forward? If you could introduce yourself, and you have 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Urjan Ma. I'm a Richmond resident. I live at 4111 Gary Street, Richmond, BC. I'll keep it short because I do have work at 5 p.m. At Richmond Center. But yeah, I really appreciate the city staff working to improve public safety on our roads. I think that's desperately needed. I use number 3 Road every single day, and the number of people who drive too fast is concerning. I do agree that that we need to focus on moving the number of vehicles. So right now, the study appears to me that it's going to count the number of vehicles that are moved, but the reality is that buses move so many more people on our roads. So if we want to improve mobility in the city, we should focus on how to most efficiently move people, not just how many cars can we get through number 3 Road. And I believe that if we increase transit reliability as possibly bus lanes or other measures on number 3 Road, it would help to reduce traffic on other corridors. So right now, so much of the area's transit depends on number 3 road, so that's why I'm talking about it so much. And if we were to reach out to a consultant, I do hope that they don't just focus on cars, even though that is a key part. I do hope that they also have one focus on transit accessibility as well. I am a volunteer with Movement. It's an advocacy group, nonprofit, working to improve public transit in Metro Vancouver. And I couldn't help but notice that it's not included in the stakeholders to be consulted. So I hope that that can be added to the terms of reference.
There'll be a full public consultation, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, well, I guess we have to decide whether we're going to read the recommendation as it's written, or, well, Councillor Heed, you'd like to add another comment?
Yeah, I'm just going to finish. I want to thank Mr. Ma for coming forward. And, you know, Mr. Ma draws some additional material. Now, when you look at what we've done here in this staff report coming forward in this motion, it's studying this to death. But if you started to look at the broader thing that Mr. Ma is bringing forward, I could understand that in the larger study that's required for this area. But we're trying to deal with, and Mr. Ma pointed out, he works in this area, he goes down 3 Road, he sees the traffic there and all that. You know, so the way this is laid out, I can't support it, absolutely not. But if you wanted a more comprehensive study, as Mr. Ma is pointing out, then we could look at that, but not only for number 3 Road, I think it's got to be looked at in the greater perspective of the major urban center, whether it's 3 Road, whether it's Minoru, whether it's something, you know, greater. The expansion way down by Sea Island Way, we just had a presentation on what's going on there with some of the development and all that. Maybe that's where you want to do it. But really, what we brought forward to begin with, and it evolved to what it is right now, sorry, I can't, you know, vote in favor of this.
Okay, just because of the scope of it. Okay. Well, the motion is that the terms of reference as described in the staff report, City Center's traffic study dated June 5th, 2025, from the Director of Transportation be endorsed, and that staff be authorized to submit a project request in the amount of $150,000 as part of the 2026 budget process. Is there a mover for that motion? Councillor Wolf is going to move it. And what about Wolf? Sorry, Councillor Au, your second?
I had to move a second.
Okay, all right. Further discussion, we got, oh, sorry, I clicked you off. There you go, Councillor Wolf.
Thank you. So if this passes at committee and it'll go to council.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard staff mention that at that time, they'll be able to give some option or opportunity to expedite this and start it sooner as opposed to waiting for the budget to be approved at the end of this year. So that's partially why I'm approving it, to see what that looks like. And then also, I think at that time, with all of council considering it, perhaps we can get it to be referred back with additional larger scope, more focused, direct changes that we direct staff to do on number 3 Road. So I haven't heard it, anyone at the table wanting to make a separate motion now. So that's why I made the motion to put it forward, and maybe we'll get to some of those solutions on Monday.
So you'd rather move it forward than refer it back?
At this stage, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Au and Councillor Galanders, do you have any extra comments? No? Councillor Au is a no? Okay,
No.
well, sorry, was that Laura? Okay, Councillor Galanders, do you have something you wanted to say?
No.
No, okay. Okay, well, then I guess it's down to, it's moved and seconded. All those in favor of sending it on Monday to full council with hopefully staff coming back with a memo to answer some of the questions that we brought up today at committee. All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, I've got Councillor Heed opposed, Councillor Galanders and Au, are you opposed or for?
Oh, I don't vote on this committee.
Oh, that's
In
right.
favor.
Right, sorry about that. Okay. Well, then I guess it's passed at this point. And then we'll see what comes through Monday, and we'll hash it out all over again. Okay, item number 4 on the agenda was number 4 and Granville intersection. I believe, Councillor Wolf, you had some concerns about construction and the sinkhole at McNeil High School.
So yes and no, not a sinkhole, but definitely a traffic pattern change. And the change that I'm referring to is McNeil Secondary School in the Richmond School District put up 2 barricades at the entrance to their driveway off of 4 Road, and they did this about 2 weeks ago, I think. I've spoken to staff about what I've observed there, and I'll just briefly explain the scenario. And then maybe staff have found out why the school district did that, and if that's permanent. And so here's what I've been observing this last couple of weeks. So I come from Hamilton, I go down 4 Road to get to McNair. And when you're heading south on number 4 Road, before you get to Granville, McNeil is on your right-hand side. It used to be that all the parents would be, or people driving, would turn off of 4 Road and go into McNeil driveway. With the barricades right at the road now, you get a big long line of cars in that right-hand lane that sometimes go all the way back to Westminster Highway. You get frustrated parents who are letting their kids out on both sides of the car on number 4 Road where the left-hand lane is moving and there's people opening their doors. I've heard from staff that it's currently permitted to stop your vehicle on number 4 Road in this section for up to 3 minutes at any time of the day, which I was a bit surprised by. That can be changed. I've also noted that vehicles in the left-hand lane, they don't really get to fly down past all this mess because when they get to Granville, there's no turning lane. So the front vehicle, if they want to go left, and more vehicles I've noticed want to go left because there's a childcare center at the corner and other things. And so every light cycle, you get 1 car going left, and then the next one has to wait a whole other cycle to go left. So you get a whole backup on the left lane now, and then you get vehicles doing U-turns mid-block to get out of this mess because they're not going anywhere for 10 minutes. And so first off, can staff comment if they've learned anything new about the school district and any other observations they've made, and what are some options we can take to address this?
Okay, well, we got one of our staff experts here.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf. So yes, staff are aware that there was a sinkhole on the school property. The school has been the one that provided the barricades and then in consultation with the city, and that's again more for safety, again due to some concerns about people driving within the driveway. The city also does have an upcoming flood protection capital project where we'll be doing some box culvert work along number 4 Road. Through that project, and we've also been in consultation with the school regarding some of the traffic impacts from that project.
Do you have a timeline on when this work will be completed?
The flood protection works will be done, started now in June, and will continue through the end of August.
Oh, so be done before the school year starts?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you have any other questions, Councillor?
Yes, just a follow-up then. So it's then as a temporary blockage, and it's assumed that after the works are done, that driveway will be opened again?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes. So that is being coordinated by the school, the blockage, and their work will be done by their contractors on site.
Okay, thanks. And then the second, another option I see, and maybe you can comment on this or someone else. If you go, the next block is to 4 Road in Blundell, that left-hand lane has a signal light so that you can get more vehicles to turn left and get out of the left lane. Could that not be an upgrade to the Granville intersection either way with this project or not, but to upgrade the left-hand, the light signal so that there can be a left-hand movement of traffic?
I think Mr. B's got a comment to make.
Yes, through the chair to Councillor Wolf, we can certainly look at that. The challenge that we have in both Granville and Blundell is we don't have the room to make a left turn bay. We would like to get that ultimately at some point in time through development. Of course, that's not going to be immediate. In other places, we have put some left turn arrows in places where we don't have left turn bays. This has had a bit of a mixed result. We can certainly look at it in this location, but it sometimes does create some confusion, is that we, given that you don't have a dedicated left turn bay on each side, we can't have a dedicated left turn phase that goes both directions. So, we'd have to create an additional phase in the timing. We'd prefer to have in just one direction, really, just because the through traffic is mixed with the left turn traffic. If we only have the left turn happening, of course, the through traffic would stop and you'd have the same problem that you're experiencing right now with the left turns. But we can certainly have a look at that and see if there's any advantage to installing something at Blundell at this point in time.
Sorry, just to clarify, to have something installed at Granville, because Blundell already has that lane, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, at
lane,
Granville, we can look at that, but that's the issue, is that we do end up with that other problem in a number of locations throughout the city that we get complaints about.
Councillor Wolf, you can help me with this. When is school over at McNeil for the summer?
Another week.
Another week. And then they'll have it finished by, I understand, the end of August before school starts?
Correct.
So while it's been a pain for the last number of months, I would imagine it will be resolved very soon.
Great.
So
Great.
well, always good to be aware of what their issues are out there. Okay, so no action on that. Item number 5, also from Councillor Wolf, is the Dover Beach Habitat Area.
Great, thanks. So again, just briefly, we're not talking about Dover Park, but it's very close. So if you just go further down Linus Lane north, you hit the dike. There's recently a council-approved dike upgrade project from Linus Lane east to Chew Road, to the bridge. The area I'm referring to here, the Dover Beach Marsh, is the land that's on the north side of the dike. It's not a rock wall and then the river there. It's a more gradual, grown-out area. I was just walking there yesterday, exploring it. Thankful we have the blackberry enhancement removal because there's a lot of blackberry growing in there. And I learned through communicating with staff that they were they're going to do dike work up to Linus Lane. And I think this marsh habitat, which was a compensation for some other work that the city did back in 1991, had about a 5-year time where the city was going to maintain it. But then after the 5 years, no maintenance. So that would say we're about like 30 years without any maintenance on a site like this. So I just question if we're going to have other compensation works with all of these dike projects, that we don't just have a short-term maintenance, that there is some extension of our maintenance. And first item on this agenda today was about the Youth Climate Corps. Do we need that? Do we need an outside agency to do this type of maintenance work? Or can staff, which had, I believe, done it for 5 years, continue to do it or provide maintenance in other areas? And maybe we can't use existing staff, but maybe that's where in the next budget process, we look at hiring staff to do some of this work or have staff on hand when we have more work, more places that need maintenance.
Shall we get staff to answer those questions? Is there anybody who wants to take that one on? Okay.
Pardon me, through the chair to Councillor Wolf. The part of the project in 1991, the 5-year maintenance program was a federal requirement at the time to serve the permitting. Future and current habitat agreements for compensation are extended now. So oftentimes what you see now are requirements in 5 years and above. Staff are proposing through the habitat banking compensation work, when approved, in the future, that it would also require a long-term maintenance program beyond that permitting requirement as well. So currently, we do look at opportunities to extend that permit requirement, but certain areas and conflicts that we have with land uses come into play, including some budgets. But we do look for opportunity, and a future program would include extended periods of time for those assets.
And I understand that the city's working with Rain Coast as one of their many, many projects. Is that correct?
Through you to Madam Chair, we don't work particularly with Rain Coast, but we do collaborate with them. In this instance, we do facilitate the use or the access to our land. The city does have a license of occupation for the Pier area that includes this habitat compensation area. So we do work with them on signage, access agreement, making sure that we look over their plans, that their plans for work do coincide with flood management strategies and those types of things so that they can facilitate their work more easily.
And as Councillor pointed out, there is going to be dike upgrades in that area. Would that also include upgrades or to the habitat area?
To you, Madam Chair, I'll speak for engineering at the moment, but right now the current plans are to try to avoid as much impact to that area of foreshore. It's currently in the interim stage. Should further requirements through detailed design require habitat compensation, staff would definitely look at opportunities to extend or benefit habitat compensation in the area that would coincide with the work that Rain Coast is doing.
Okay, so in the works. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, so thank you for that information. I'm glad that you brought that up, Councillor Wolf, so we can learn a little bit more. I'm surprised that that area has sat since 1991, so very eye-opening. Okay, are there any managers' reports or managers' updates? Are there any questions of staff? Oh, here we go, Councillor McNulty.
I have a number of questions of staff. I understand that we're reducing speed in Hamilton on the S-curve in front of the daycare. What's the status of that now? We've asked for traffic calming now for about 2 years. What's happening out there?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, we did a report on this a while back. We didn't reduce the speed there, but we did install traffic calming. Now, the traffic calming hasn't worked out as well as we thought. There still is speeding there, and staff is reviewing to see what else we can do in that area to improve that situation.
Okay, and how long will that take?
Madam, through the chair to Councillor McNulty, I'm not positive exactly when we can do that, but we can expedite that at this point in time.
Okay, I appreciate that. I have a second question. The residents of Hamilton are asking for a light at River Road and Westminster Highway. They were promised one by staff at one time, and they've asked a number of staff, and I'm going to quote, "We will look into it and get back to you." How long do we have to wait before we look into it and get back to you? Is it got to be like the stop sign in Stevenson where I got to make a resolution? It's kind of getting ridiculous, and I can understand Councillor Heath's frustration. I can't tolerate it too much longer because I won't be here next year. They're going to vote me out because they want action. They want investment in safety, and for whatever reason, Parks and Rec people, and also this particular group doesn't listen to the community. And we've got to start listening to it because I do listen to it and I live here. And so I'd like to know, I'll have to move it on Monday. I'm not part of this committee, but I'd like to know the status of the request for a traffic light and why we can't put traffic light or traffic calming at that. It's a dangerous intersection. I've been out so many times, and we need to clean all the blackberry bushes and every other, sorry, Michael, every other tree that's close so we can see that intersection, because it's another disaster to happen.
Let's get staff
So where
to
are
answer
we?
that. Yeah.
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, based on what I've read here, I believe that this is part of the River Road work that we were doing. If you recall, we brought forward a plan to do traffic calming on River Road, and we received a referral to go back out and talk to the folks in Hamilton. We've done that. We're processing the data, and we're planning to bring that back in September. So I believe that the light you're talking about is at the bend as you come down towards West. Right, and that is in that study area. But certainly if we receive direction to put a flashing light there or something like that, we can certainly do that.
For September, I would request you you have a budget, and then how much money it will be, and I will lobby my colleagues here to pay for it immediately to get it going.
And you're talking about a flashing light, Councillor?
Flashing light, and I know where the money is and where we can get money, and we don't have to go through a process for next year's budget. So I'd ask that request, okay?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, like we can certainly look at it, and I believe that we can find a budget for it unless there's no power there or something like that.
I'll offer you the money. Take it when you can get money.
So why don't we leave that with staff and
Leave it with staff,
if you
but
want to
it's
make a
entered
motion
in the
for.
minutes, and I will lobby for the budget,
Okay, so
starting
maybe-
here at this table.
Yeah, so we'll have staff and Councillor McNulty discuss that, and potentially a motion will come next week.
The money's there.
Okay, we got Councillor Wolf.
Thank you. Two quick questions. One is related to the giant hogweed invasive plant. I'm just curious if staff have any update, if not verbally, then if there is something worthy to update. I just know there's one that's been marked on the east-west connector in Hamilton area, where it's right on the side of the highway, and there's cones beside it, but the plant now is standing about 8 feet tall, and the flowers are turning to seeds. So I'm just curious also, like, I'm assuming it's not our city staff that go in and remove this highly toxic plant. Could staff either comment now or in a memo on the status of hogweed?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, we do have an inventory of all the hogweed located in the city and on private property. We try to address it as soon as possible when we do know that it's there before flowering. We do get the services of a private contractor. I don't know the specific location of this. If it's on the east-west connector, it could be provincial land, I'm not sure. But we do not wait at all to initiate the removal of that plant on the certain instances that I'm thinking about. So I can look into the specific location, and if it is on provincial land, we can request immediate action prior to flowering.
Okay, thanks. I'll show you on a map after, because it's been there for at least 2 weeks with the cones very visible. The second item is from 2 days ago, the Home Depot parking lot flooded. The Richmond News is reporting it, saying that they had a private fire hydrant on site that was being serviced privately, and it was during the servicing or maintenance that it blew or whatever. The Richmond Fire Department arrived on scene. They could not shut it down. Engineering and Public Works were able to shut it down. I'm just curious, a few things here. Is it standard that private property have their own type of fire hydrant that our fire department can't operate? Does this loss of water, is that metered and then they're charged, Home Depot or whoever was at fault for this? And then, I guess I'll start with those two.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes, the hydrant was, it is a private hydrant located on Home Depot's private property. This was over on Bridgeport Road. The contractor that they hired to come in and do general maintenance on the fire hydrant ended up turning off the wrong valve. And so then when they opened the hydrant to service it, the water was spewing. The fire department was not able to turn it off. I do not know why, but they did contact our staff who immediately attended, our water staff attended, and did turn the hydrant off. They would be charged for their water usage that occurred through that hydrant. We will be following up with Richmond Fire to see if there's some additional education or support we can give. I don't know if there was just unique situation in regard to this, but our staff did attend immediately when called.
Good job.
Great, thank you.
All right, Councillor Heed, have you got a question?
Yes, just to follow up on Councillor McNulty, what he was bringing forward with respect to that. And my question is whether the general manager has the authority to install the light right at River and Westminster Highway at the bend there, or do we have to go through a separate motion such as what we discussed regarding the stop sign?
All right, leave that to the GM. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Councillor Heed, yes, the general manager has the authority to install traffic signals as warranted. So again, this is an opportunity to review and look at it, but we can certainly do so.
Okay, so I would imagine something will come back to council by potentially Monday?
Yes, Madam Chair, we'll prepare some information on this one.
Okay, perfect. Is that good enough?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so seeing no other questions, I ask for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.